You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, the minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time or somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. 'Cause this is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever, the secret is whenever, the secret is together we are.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to CSL St. George. We are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our purpose in this Holy Boldness month of June is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life that they love using science of mind and spirit principles and practices. Our vision is CSL St. George is a community focused center, actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all might live their best lives. Today's lineup. In today's service, we have our beautiful Marina Anderson as our tech, and she recently had a birthday. Happy birthday. And I am Stephanie Sterrett, your host. Our music is by Alan Stanley. And our invocation today is Bill Smith, who's also a religious science practitioner. And Sue Fulmer is doing our reading, and she's a religious science practitioner. And our senior minister is Reverend Joe Kovach with a wonderful message for today. All right. Thank you, Alan. Take it away.
Well, thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, Stephanie. We start off a little quiet. We're going to do Eddie Watkins' song, and then Bill's going to come in and offer our invocation. So sit back and relax. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you dream of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is
Good morning, St. George, and welcome to the beautiful garden of Sunday service. I invite you to join with me in affirmative prayer as I lead today's invocation. As we come together, I know that we do so in the presence of the One, and I know that the One grants us the power and the beauty to be together as one. I know that this presence is active and alive within me, and as everyone else who is listening to this service online, watching it online, whether that's this morning or a month from now, I know that each and every one of us is inspired with that same power of the One working through and as each and every one of us. I know that today's service is a blessing. I know that the concept of holy boldness and divine audacity is an interesting topic and not one that is often approached from a spiritual perspective. I mean, how often do you hear about audacious boldness in a spiritual setting? But I know that it's safe, and I know that it as we try this on as individuals, I know that each and every one of us is fortified with that power that can only come from the one, from God. So I know that today's service is a blessing to each and every one of us, and I know that it is divinely inspired. So I just release my word, knowing that it is so, and I let it be so. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you, Bill. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you dream of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. Such a beautiful garden. That garden is you. I would like to bring Sue up to offer our reading for us today.
Good morning. What a great sunny June 1st morning. For the reading today, I want to refer to our brand new June magazine right there. Holy Boldness is our theme for the month. And every month, our friend, Eugene Holden, has a column called Personal Affirmations. And I'm going to read some of his affirmations today. You know, affirmations are they are positive statements of intention. And intentions are what we want to do and be. And I've heard it put doobie doobie doo. Okay, so let's try to close our eyes maybe, or really intently focus as we create by intent. And as I read through this, try to make it your own. I boldly live the life of God. As I accept my divinity, I accept a life of opulent abundance. I am the brilliant life of God. All my needs are met now by the abundant overflow of Spirit. I am on fire with the enthusiasm of Spirit. Everything I do with passion. I love this thing called life. The power of the living Spirit lights my way. I know I am successful. I am the divine expression of the One. The same power that causes the wind to blow is the power that breathes my breath. All things are possible with God consciousness. I am unbound. I am unstoppable. I lift my eyes to see and accept only the highest and best. There is only one life. That life is God. I am that life now. And so it is. Namaste.
Namaste, Sue. Thank you. That ties right in with this song that's coming up here. I could say the first verse is a affirmation in itself. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me, nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. If I feel the love inside myself, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your absent tears, I see your shining star. And I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So tell the world of peace on earth that only love can bring, and I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. The change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I am. And I love myself just the way I am. Yes, I love myself just the way I am.
What a beautiful song, Alan. Oh my
Thank you.
goodness. I'm sitting there going, oh yes, that's what I've been studying lately, is how to love myself even more and accept it. Those were perfect, acceptable affirmations.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, everyone. We have sacred audacity. What a beautiful word, audacity. And I can't wait to have
You didn't even. Hi, I'm here. The audacity.
Take it away.
Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate that. And thank you to everyone. Marina, working behind the scenes there. Thank you very much. Popping me in. Nice surprise. Wink, wink. Thank you to Bill for our prayer. And thank you to Sue for our reading. And of course, Alan with our beautiful music. And of course, that song probably made famous by Louise Hay. I don't know if she wrote it. I just know it's part of a great movie with the same title. You Can Heal Yourself. So what a great start. I do want to start by thanking the same person that Sue mentioned, which was Eugene Holden, who filled in for me last week. So that I get a beautiful week off that was spent celebrating my son. So he graduated from high school, so it was a big deal. So thank you to Eugene, way out on the East Coast. And as you've heard, well, so good morning, St. George, and good morning wherever you are at. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for loving us and following us and being part of our community and friends. And as you've heard, we're going to talk about, well, the new month, June 2024 already. It's here. And so the theme for the month is Holy Boldness, right? And as you heard, this talk is called Sacred Audacity. And so I looked up the definition of audacity because I needed to. I knew what it meant in some context. And the way I have always heard it was kind of on the negative connotation was like you're doing something rude or disrespectful. In essence, like, oh, the audacity of that person. So that is one of the meanings, the way it could be taken, but that's not what we're going to use it for today. The audacity is our audacity is really a willingness to take risks. Okay, so let that sink in. You can probably already start feeling, taking risks. What would that have to do with me expanding my life to a better life, to a more expansive life, a more joy-filled life? Because that's what we're all seeking. No matter how good we have it, we recognize that it can get better to infinity. So, we can be happy with right where we are. We can be in love with where we are. And yet there's more. And it's going to come whether we want it or not, because life is ever moving. There is nothing that is stationary in the universe. So a willingness to take bold risks. Is that you? I don't know about you, but the idea of taking risks can sound very scary, right? Because a risk by definition has an unknown outcome, an unknown result, which is the riskiness of it. Or if you have an idea of the outcome, you're not sure exactly what level or magnitude it's going to happen, right? So what is sacred audacity? Well, we're going to define that today. And how can something be a sacred action if we're unsure of the result? And does that really line up? So the other thing about taking risk is obviously not just the unknown, but again, sometimes even in the unknown, or the known, we know this, if I do this, this could be the result, right? There's a possibility of failing. There's possibility sometimes of things actually getting worse. We could hurt ourselves, or even worse yet, we could hurt someone that we love. Okay, so we're not saying we're taking unconscious or unplanned risks. Okay, we're going to define this, so stay with me. But I do want you to start with this. I want you to think about a time that you took a bold risk. Any time in your life. Okay? So it doesn't matter how old you are. You took a bold risk. Now, success or not, doesn't matter. But I want you to think about what it felt like, the process, how it felt in the beginning, how it felt maybe just before you took the risk, and how it felt immediately afterwards, and how it feels even now looking back. Because no matter what it was, the risk, no matter how it turned out, I believe, and we believe, that it added to who you are. You're right now where you are. I'm going to proclaim that you're where you're supposed to be. And that everything is working according to the way that we understand the universe works. So even if we're not where we want to be in the long run, we know that there is a process and there's a path to get there. So my friends, if you're listening here today, then there's some part of you that is recognizing that maybe I have more of a say in how things show up in my life. And that's kind of how many people I talked to got involved in Centers for Spirituality. I just knew there was more, and I couldn't figure out how to get there. So you realize that you can either do something, but of course our philosophy is about being that something first, right? In order to live something, we're going to take it on mentally. We're going to add our emotions. We're going to add it with enthusiasm, right? All of our energy and focus, and recognize that it's all part of an ongoing transformation that we're living. And as a basic tenet of science of mind philosophy, we recognize that there is one power, and Bill did a great job in praying this morning, that there's one power, one life, one source of all that is happening in this universe. There is nothing else. I'm an absolutist understanding this. It is all God. The thing is, if we hold a small definition of God, then it won't fit our definition of God. We have to expand our definition. So we say that there is a sacred principle and a universal law. That's kind of how it works. So what are we saying? That there's one power, and this power operates according to its own law. Law, what does that mean? That as what we simply say, as we think it, as we feel it, it comes through us into our lives and shows up. So when we learn and know and understand this principle, then we're able to act with boldness, with sacred audacity, right? as we name and we claim and we declare our desire and we claim it as good, and we know that it's not a matter of guessing. We know it's not a matter of, I hope it turns out. No, law is exact. If I plant an apple seed, the law says, in this situation, the soil says yes. It doesn't say, I don't want to grow apple seeds today, Joe. I just don't want to do it. And you're not worthy of apple seeds. You're not worthy. Maybe a petunia. That's what you can have. No, that's not how it works. And so what we're seeking, we have to create that mental equivalent. You hear me use that word. It's been a little while, meaning the idea in my mind, and what I know as my mind is the mind of God. There's only one thing happening. Now, I have access in essence to all of it, but I'm not consciously aware of all of it in this time and space that I'm living. So here's a statement of audacity. Ready? Be still and know that I am God. That comes from the Bible. Be still and know that I am God. Woo. If you said that out loud in public, some people are like, what? You think you're God? Oh, and they will have many things to share with you. Okay. But is it really a risk? Is that really? It is audacious, right? It is sacred because we hold it as truth. We believe in this idea that there's a one divine essence that is within us. And not only is it within us, it's everything else. There is no other. It's just life expressing, and how would I say that? So we create it with our thoughts. Now, it sounds too simple, and I'm sure if we wanted to use quantum physics to describe it, we could do that. But in simplicity, right? That's it. And so this creative power, this law works with and as universal source, and it has to work every time. If it doesn't work, then it's our own ignorance. That's not a bad thing. We're just not understanding, or we're simply not doing what we think we're doing. In other words, how many times have we said, well, I want to feel more joy, and it doesn't necessarily show up? Well, there's some things that we have taken on that we need to release, but we have to become aware of them first. And that's what we're going to get into, right? We're going to get into audaciously. So Ernest Holmes, our founder, says every person represents an individualization of the universal wholeness. Okay, so it's all one, but there's an infinite amount of center points, and we are each one of those. The love, the peace, joy, and freedom of spirit. Therefore, we have a divine right to rise above fear, impoverishment, and disease. We should have confidence that the power of spirit expresses through every atom of our being now, this moment, not later. The health that we're seeking is not out there. The joy we're seeking is not in the future. The perfect health is not. It is here, available now. We have to open to that and become that. In other words, if we're looking at energy, we have to raise to that vibration. Going back to the analogy of a radio, if I'm trying to tune into a specific station, okay, I may want a certain song playing on this certain station, but I'm nowhere near that station right now, frequency-wise. I'm lower. Because if I haven't gotten there yet, I'm lower. And until I rise up and we get closer and closer, I begin to hear the static. In other words, we can start feeling it. I may not even know why, but my senses pick up on it. And there I continue to raise and do my spiritual practices, and then become in alignment. And now I'm in tune with the desire that I'm seeking. So notice, it is a mental part, but obviously we do have to take action, and it's all sacred action. So sacred audacity is making a conscious and deliberate choice to act, and knowing that as we do, our faith will grow. Right? Our faith will overcome our doubts, our belief systems of lack. And as we do this, we gain confidence. And maybe most important, that what we really gain is the spiritual and personal, intimate experience, communing with that which we call God or spirit. And we recognize the process, even at a low level, of how the law works. So it does, as always, begin on the inside. Now, we said there's no really inside and outside. When we talk about inside, meaning just this, our personal consciousness, that which we know is true. So any transformation, our transformation, is the result of our courageousness, our audacity to follow a path of sacred audacity. Okay, so here's a secret. I kind of let it out a little earlier. You don't need permission to live the life of your dreams. Everything you want is available. Everything. There's an infinite amount of radio stations. You tune into the one that you want best. And maybe you tuned into one and you've kind of outgrown that. You got tired of that music. Then you can change the channel. Only you can change the channel. Ernest Holmes says that every desire you have for betterment in life is some echo from deep within, which forever proclaims, and I love this statement, it's a great affirmation, behold, I make all things new. But in order to make things new, we have to come from a new place consciously. I can't hold the same rules and filters and just expect something new. I have to change. My thinking changes everything. So that's how we begin this process of change. Matter of fact, there's Ernest Holmes who says, change your thinking, change your life. That's where that phrase came from. And so change my thoughts. What happens when I change my thoughts? I also need to change the feeling, my emotions that feed those thoughts. Okay, now the more I'm open to the wholeness that we talked about earlier, recognizing God as everything, not God and God as everything. Now, this does take an inner courage. We're going to talk about inner courage for a moment, because in order to go deeper, we have to have courage. We have to have confidence. And it does take, we have to take this bold risk to begin to pause, because most of us come from, and when we start on this journey, a life of everything happening to us. And until we're aware, this is how it works. I don't have any choice. I don't control the weather. I don't control. We hear all these statements. Okay. But what we do control and recognize as the source of everything is our thought, is consciousness. Yes. Yes. And so the more we take the bold action to go within and in essence, block that out, the effects, because the effects are the last part of the creative process. We think, we feel, and then it comes to form. Okay. So as we have a new thought, again, which makes us feel good, if it's not making us feel good, but we know it's better, again, we need to work on the inside. What do I mean by that? Well, I know, let's say for me, I don't smoke, but let's say I smoked, and I know that I feel better when I don't smoke. So but I know it as a thought, but I just haven't embodied it feeling wise, because I'm scared. I'm thinking about all the possible symptoms that people tell me they've gone through, or maybe I've already experienced, and that transformation that I need to go to. It's not always easy, and it takes an inner courage to start this. We have to be honest, right? It's not always easy. It's just not. And if we're doing something really bold, we get caught up in the judgment of others. Right? Like, what will my parents say? What will my spouse say? What will my children say? What will my neighbor, what will my coworkers say if I really went after X, Y, and Z? There's also cultural, like these cultural social norms. And if you don't know, just look up on TikTok. They'll tell you what you're supposed to be thinking and feeling, or YouTube. An inner courage takes the ability to sit and be, and blocking that out. When we say be still, that's what we're talking about. Allowing our own thoughts, becoming aware of our own. What are your own thoughts? Have you paused lately long enough to really give yourself time and space to recognize your own inner thoughts? So this inner courage allows us to pause and ask ourselves, is this what I really want? Is what I want for my best and highest good? And also, if it's for my best and highest good, is it also going to help someone else, or others down the line? In this place, others are good, our friends, our family, and so on. So once we have this inner courage, and it takes a little time to develop, we have to be patient with ourselves. we begin to start coming more and more from this sacred audacity, right? That no, this is what I want. This is what I'm holding is true. Thank you for your advice. I appreciate it, and I'm moving on with what I need to do for me. And as our inner courage grows, right, it's expressing the sacred audacity becomes easier. And it also becomes easier the more that we feel connected to the divine, our spiritual connection. So that's the second part. We have our inner courage. The more we do things and the more we gain courage, it's step by step, and sometimes it's slow, but we begin to build confidence. And then we begin to realize that, there is this connection I have at first, and then it will evolve into a communication. Now, this lines up perfectly with one of our tenets of the what we believes as Centers for Spiritual Living, and I want to share it with you. It says, we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Now, I've been asked many of times, what is it that you believe, you need to do to be with God in heaven and so on? Well, this is really shares an insight into that. A direct revelation of truth. We need to have the courage to believe that we can communicate with that which we call God. And we do this through our natural intuition and spiritual nature. Now, it's kind of a vague statement, spiritual nature. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. Then specifically, in other words, when we're dealing with the divine. And I know in the grand scheme of things, all is divine, so we're always dealing with the divine. But that anyone may become a revealer of truth. What does that mean? It means anyone can get to the point they recognize that what they think and how they feel about it is what happens. That is a creative process. And when I realize that is truth, then the more I fine tune my thinking, the more I come from a place of love and joy and peace and beauty and harmony, the more I get to live the life that I want to live. Now, it may not come out exactly the way I pictured it in my mind. And what I mean by that is, in back of everything we want is an experience or a feeling that we want to have. So even though I say, I'm trying to think of it. Let's say when we try to manifest a perfect spiritual, perfect mate, right? I may have this picture of a woman in my mind, or a man, whoever you are looking for, and yet it shows up in this person that I didn't expect that, but that makes me feel like the way I wanted to feel. They help make me feel. I'm hoping I'm being clear on that. So that what this is saying that is, you listening right now, no matter where you are in your life, you can become a revealer of truth. This is not a sacred truth. This is out there in the open. What is your truth? That God is everything expressing. It's expressing individually as me, individually as you. It's this. We think it's still, but if we look under a microscope, this is vibrating with energy, with God essence. There is only God in motion. So our spiritual connection requires trust and faith, right? Talking about sacred audacity and taking bold risks. We have to have faith. And again, having that inner courage to take steps, to start it going, to start moving forward. So taking risk, and at the same time, and this is a big word, surrendering. Ooh, that's a big one. It's taken me a long time to quite grasp what surrendering means, especially to some invisible presence. So when we talk about that, I'm just going to focus on the word surrender for a moment. We're not giving up, as in quitting. What we're doing is we're giving in to that power and presence that we recognize is at a higher level of wholeness than we are, right? So in other words, it's like we get out of our small self. We recognize that I'm not getting the picture, the whole picture. So what I do is I pause. And if if I choose to give up something, it's me thinking little me, my one mind, or seeing my mind as one mind, small mind, disconnected from everything else. And I'm trying to make this amazing thing happen. But no, that's not what when I surrender, I'm like, wait a minute, there is an infinite power of good. And I am a channel of that already. So it knows at a higher level what I want better than I know what I want to experience, to have. It knows the perfect way. It already knows the outcome because it is that already. So I'm surrendering and saying, and again, this is where trust and faith comes in. Okay, I'm here. I am just going to align by feeling good about the outcome and take the steps that I naturally, through my spiritual nature, feels right to take. That is what surrender is, spiritual surrendering. All right. So what we literally, I guess, are surrendering to is a belief sometimes that we have to know everything, right? We have to be fully in charge. And often that we're not worthy. I have to surrender to that too, quite often. Wait, no, I don't have to be or do. I am already that expression of the divine. And the fact that I don't know that fully is one of the things that's probably hindering me in the moment, but I can surrender that too. Howard Thurman, the great American theologian, says, "In the stillness of the quiet, if we listen, we can hear the whisper of the heart, giving strength to weakness, courage to fear, hope to despair." So again, this is why it's so important to just pause, right? As he's saying, what is this stillness of the quiet? It's pausing, it's meditating. And again, some people are like, I don't meditate. I don't even know what that is. Just sit in a room. You could be just with yourself alone. I need to have some ambient, I don't have to, but I like having some level of noise. So I'll turn on the fan, or I may listen to a very calm meditation music and just allow my mind to just whatever needs to happen, and any thought that is not making me feel calm, I just release. Okay, thank you. I don't focus on it. I just let it go. For me, often the best meditation times I have is I go out in my backyard. I find I live in Las Vegas still, so a palm tree, and I just look at the leaves and I just watch them gently move, and that's all I really focus on. So you're not trying to stop all thought. You're just trying to find that stillness within. So living with sacred audacity, it doesn't mean we're going crazy and it's chaotic, but we're focused, we're conscious, and we're trusting this divine spirit that we know is everything. It's who I am. It's me now, and it's the me that's living that life that I say I want to live all at once. It already knows, it loves me because it is me, and this is what's happening, right? Ernest Holmes says all the time, there is a creative power in the universe, and I can use that power to transform my life without end. So the more that we put ourselves in trusting the divine, the more we're able to trust. This grows our inner courage. This grows our communication with our spiritual nature. Elizabeth Day, a quote that backs us up, again, another heart quote: follow your heart and keep following it, and you will know happiness, the kind of happiness that doesn't disappear, the kind that grows. So it never retreats. 2 quotes in a row mentioning heart. When we talk about our heart chakra, this is a creative center of our bodies. Remember, we are not our bodies. It is mind over matter. Our mind tells our body what to do. However, our body also filters for us and communicates back to us some things that we may not be aware of. And so it is with our heart. In the Bible, it says, as a man thinketh with his heart, so is he. Man or woman, gender aside. As we think with our heart, as we really feel, I may be saying something here, I may be saying it here, but what do I really feel about what I'm saying? That's what matters. That's where the work is. So now we've got this inner courage. We have a renewed and expanded faith. We have a renewed and expanded communication. This trust is happening. The next step is to start now. Don't wait. Right? You hear this, you're like, yes, I feel stuck, Reverend Joe. I feel like there's more waiting for me. I'm happy where I'm at, or I'm not happy where I'm at, or I'm in the place of, I don't even know why this keeps happening to me. That is perfect, wherever you are, right? Now, the old part of me, the Catholic trained me, says, well, God will take you as you are. Well, God is you. No one's going to take you. We take ourselves. That song was perfect. Now thinking back for that Alan sang, right? We got to start by loving ourselves. Now we can sit around and wait for a savior, and maybe God will show up in and through that way, but why wait? It's right here, right now. We're talking about people that light us up. They are a mirror to us, showing us that the divine is already in us, and our feeling towards that is that reflection, saying, yes, that is you. That's why you're feeling this way. So, I mean, brought up as a Catholic, I still love the idea of who Jesus of Nazareth is and was, and that he was so open to understanding and being the wholeness of the presence of God, that he was able to do what we would call miracles. But in essence, it's just he was not ignorant of the law, as I mentioned earlier. He was one with it. Okay, we can look at it in terms of Jedis, right? They used the Force. They knew that there was a power and an energy there, and they used it for good. And so, but you got to start. There is an action part. We can hold. I know personally that there are so many things that I feel like I want to do, and yet I haven't done, or I've taken steps hundreds of times even, and just not completed for one reason or another. So sometimes I just outgrow it. And sometimes I don't even, until I look and pause and go within, I finally recognize what it is that's holding me back, which is always a belief system. And my feelings will let me know what that belief system is. But it's all available, folks, right? Right here, right now. Why would you not want to start? Right? Jim Webb says, before all else, each of us must take a fundamental risk to be true to ourselves. So maybe being true to ourselves looks like being honest and saying, you know what, I'm not sure what to do. Well, don't quit there. Look, especially with the internet, there's a million places to go to find out some options for you to do. Now, if you're listening to this at any time, you can call any of our practitioners or myself, and we will be happy to help you discover where you're at as we hold your perfection in mind, because we recognize that everybody is perfect, whole, and complete. You must be. That may not be how you're showing up. That's okay. But we're going to hold that like a lantern in the dark so that you can begin to, know it's true, gain that inner confidence, start communicating with yourself better. Because if all I continue to say is I'm not worthy, that is an affirmation. I'm not worthy, and therefore that will show up in your life. So let's start now on the positive, right? If we're stuck at the beginning of transformation, my first suggestion is use your imagination, right? Go inside your mind and begin to, like a child, play. What is it that you want to experience? Focus on one thing at a time. So I'm tired of where I'm living at. I want a new house. I have no idea how I'm going to afford it. Wait, stop. That's lack. What does that house look like? How many bedrooms does it have? What color is it on the outside? What's the yard like? How do you feel walking in your own front door? How do you feel in your new master bedroom? And so on and so forth. Notice how I tie my mental in with my heart, my feelings. Okay, and the more we practice that, that is communing with the divine. And the divine's not out there. There's only one mind, and we're using it. So we're literally sharing the desires that we have. So we're up in our mind, and that's okay. But of course, there's eventually going to be a time where we're going to naturally, through our intuition, take some action. The more we probe deeper, the more we're going to discover some of those weights, mental weights that we're holding, emotional weights that we're are holding us down, kind of like a bobber. If you're fishing, a bobber is meant to float on top to say, hey, this is where I'm at. But we have all this emotional baggage that pulls us down. Now, if you cut that off, whoop, this is our natural state, right on top, floating around, having a good time. Oh, but what will they say? What if I fail? I'm not worthy. And we feel like we're this lower density, this lower vibration. So It's about practicing and letting that go. So another thing is some action as we're up in our minds. Put that down on paper. Start journaling a little bit. Just free write. What does that mean? That means I'm just going to sit. What I'll do is I'll ask a question. It could be, what is my perfect house for me lately? It's what does my perfect opportunity look like in St. George? And then I sit down and I just close my eyes for 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I open my eyes and I just start writing everything that comes to my mind, no matter what it is. I don't edit, whether it's curse words, and it's amazing when I get done. So often I'm like, I don't even know who wrote this. And it's true. Like I'll look back and like, I would never say it like that. But that's this surrendering to the higher consciousness that I already am. I'm allowing that to come into here and now. Now we talked about affirmations. Affirmations are an easy and great way to begin to shift the way we think and feel. Okay. One I'm going to suggest, I'm going to share it again later. But one of the ones that I created for me is simply this. I say, I flow and allow. I live in the now. I appreciate all I see. I'm happy to be me. Right. And so just for me, that anchors me in. And I practice that and I use it, changing the way I think, change the way I feel, change my reality. Right. And why is that important? Again, Napoleon Hill, the great author of Think and Grow Rich, says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. So it's not just conceiving something, but we have to believe it. How do we know we believe it? Check our heart status. Are we in alignment or not? So it may feel like we're inching our way forward. Maybe we get stuck. Another option is, again, to call our one of our practitioners. They're basically spiritual coaches, friends. That's what they're trained to do. Okay, they're not going to tell you what to do, but they're trained in asking you the right questions that help you discover what you want, discover your own blocks, while again we're holding the fact that you're perfect and what you want is available here and now. Okay, you can go to our website and click on their pictures and reach out to any one of them. If it doesn't work, just email me personally. All right. So one of the other ways that we can do this is just practicing gratitude. Being grateful for everything that's happening, even when in the beginning we're not. What we're saying is I'm grateful for this. I'm not sure right now where the divine is in this, where the blessing is in this, but I'm opening my mind to see it. Right? As Janet Mock says, we must have the audacity to turn up the frequency of our truths. So what's our truths? Our belief systems. We have to be willing to go, oh, but I've always done it that way. Well, how's that working for you? Is it working for you? Because if it's not, then turn up your truth. Turn up your frequency to a new radio station, to a one that makes you feel better. That's why I say higher. Higher. Low and slow, high and flow, right? So, and speaking of spiritual coaches and life coaches, Tony Robbins, who coined the phrase, he says, if you're not living up to your greatest potential in any area of your life, then you're settling. Now, I'm not going to say that's wrong, but we also know how that feels. It can be hard to admit, he says, but when you do, you will finally discover how to never settle for less. Now, this doesn't mean on a constant state, a mental state of getting. It's not what we're talking about. I have to have this, I have to have that to feel good. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is this idea that you don't need anything to feel the way you want to feel, and yet you're choosing to have this experience. I love the way I feel. I love my life. You know what? I would like to manifest an Audi into my life, a specific Audi that I would love to drive. And it's midnight metallic blue, and it's got black interior and create it and speak from it. It's in essence that easy. But then how am I feeling about that? Well, ooh, that's an expensive car. And my mind goes, ooh, well, expensive car, you know, that means expensive repairs. And oh, I'm already limiting my desire. Wait, stop. How do I know to stop? Because I just felt my heart. I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Let that go. Again, this is an infinite source. Infinite. So I can create everything that I want, have the resources for it, and just allow it to literally flow into my life. So can you. So sacred audacity, concluding a little bit here, requires us to tap into our spiritual connection, requires us to work at gaining the inner courage, right? To be bold enough to take these risks, to make statements like Jesus did when he said, I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. Say that again, Christ which strengthens me. Now, Christ, what we talk about is a level, a degree of consciousness. The Christ consciousness is one when you recognize, as Jesus also said, I and that which I call the Father, source, life, are one. No separation. That's the key. Then we take this confidence and we consciously hold what we want in our minds. Again, mental equivalence. We listen to and feel it, and then we act from our inner truth and knowing, right? This will require bold risks, right? But taking these bold risks is what turns it into, takes our action, our intentional action, and turns it into tangible life. It's here. I moved it from mind to matter. And that's the process. So this means that now, right now, is the perfect time to start. Restart, visit, or revisit a desire or intention that you've been wanting to take action on. Doesn't that feel good to know that you can be or do or have anything you want? But we must know it, and not just know it, but know it. Be it. So as we take these actions, the other important thing is to remember there are no real missteps. We say, oh, I'm going backwards. But if you're aware you're going backwards, then that's valuable information. That allows you to go forwards, because how many times have you been going backwards and you didn't even know? So celebrate everything. This is where that gratitude comes in. Oh, I'm so grateful that this showed up, because I realized that only showed up because I wasn't in alignment with what I'm wanting to now experience. So our spiritual practices, right, then help us turn our attention from fear to faith, from desperation to desire, and definitely from insecurity to inspiration. So one of the practices I mentioned before is our affirmations, is stating affirmations. And you could create your own, but for today's affirmation, that's going to be the one that I create for myself. I want to share it with you. Now, it's not just words, right? I can mentally say this. I flow and allow, I live in the now. I appreciate all I see. I'm so happy to be me. Oh, I feel that. Now, if you say, I feel it great today, but if I said it 100 times before the end of today, with energy, not just because I have to, but because I want to, I will begin to literally feel the flow and feel the allowance of that. I will literally, in my body, in my heart, begin to live in this present moment. With intention, speaking these words, I will appreciate all I see. Appreciate meaning in value. I see everything as valuable. And then I will be happy being me, because I recognize that it's all available to me, because I'm already being that. So I'm going to close with more affirmative prayer. That's what we do. I'm going to close my eyes and know the truth of my being, which is truly that everything is perfect and whole and complete, because there's only one life being lived. And I am a center point of that life, as is each and every being. There is no spot that is not vibrating consciously. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, I call it good. I call it source, spirit, God, Christ, Buddha, Krishna. All these words are just me trying to commune with this presence that truly has no name. But I pause and I go within. And for me, I call this presence sometimes just Joe, because the presence of the divine is that close to me. You call it by your name, or whatever makes you feel comfortable. And I know that it is good. And I know that there is only good. And that as we attune our minds, our thoughts globally and consciously to that truth, that life will change to match that truth. That I now live in a world where everyone is truly living their best lives. They're happy, they're content, and yet they're wanting to grow. And that is available to everyone, that everybody is free to live to that accord. That there is nothing that we cannot be or do or have. That there are people always available and willing to support us where we are at as they hold truth. I am absolutely just affirming that the spiritual community of Centers for Spiritual Living St. George is perfect, whole, and complete as it is, and I want more. I see it more. I affirm that it is growing in numbers. I affirm that it has its brand new location with perfect amount of space, a kitchen, multiple classrooms, one that's used to teach children, because that is so vital to our future, is letting children know that they are already worthy, that they are already perfect, and their thoughts and their minds are amazing, and that they're amazing, and that they are love in action, and we can show them a path to express that love. And as we learn that lesson to teach them, we teach ourselves, so that life is truly unfolding magnificently. I hold this day, the second day of June, in my heart, just feeling the healing flow of the presence that I call God, I call Spirit. And I ask you now to take a breath with me as you feel it. Namaste, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you. What a wonderful prayer at the end. I have something I want to share on Zoom, so everybody come to Zoom, because it's
Ooh.
exactly what you were describing, and it's got a nice little poem that goes with it.
Perfect.
Everybody come to Zoom. We'll have a lively conversation. Yay. Okay. Here we go with some announcements before we get to Zoom. It's Happy Pride Month. Yay. Since we are an inclusive society, that is perfect. Our prayer requests are at prayer@cslstgeorge.org. Next week, our in-person service, which is June 9th. And like I was saying, we have a Zoom conversation at noon, so come on over. Okay, abundant prosperity. We can give with Zelle. Zelle is a bank-to-bank transfer system, and you can look in the newsletter that is sent out for instructions on how to set that up. Give online. PayPal link is our website, CSLSG.org, for the donation page, or use the QR code that's right here. Give by mail, send checks to Centers for Spiritual Living St. George, and there is the address right here. And upcoming Sundays, next week, our practitioner Bill Smith will be giving us another one of his grand talks, and it is called Fired Up in Person. That's our in-person. And the week after that, we'll have Reverend Joe back with us, Unbounded and Unstoppable. Oh my goodness, what a month that we're flying through. Okay, we're going to bring everybody up and do our closing affirmations.
That's right.
Okay, gang's all here. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it. I embrace it and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right.
Woohoo!
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Love.
See you soon.